Zootopia 2 is coming this November, and up until now, we knew very little about the movie. But everything changed because the first teaser just dropped. Did you know it's packed with really cool details that give us hints about the story? Lots of brand new characters are showing up in this movie, and the teaser proves it by showing several of them. Maybe Disney was bold enough to reveal them all, because there are really a lot. Among them is a police boar who caught the attention of some sharp-eyed fans. That's because, in case you didn't know, the first Zootopia was almost completely different, with a whole other storyline and several characters that ended up getting cut from the final version. This boar was one of them, and was supposed to be part of an elite police squad specializing in hunting predators. Will this group exist in the new movie, or will the boar have a different role? Okay, so we already know that cut characters from the original movie are getting a second chance, but did you also know that some who already had quite a bit of spotlight are coming back too? The best example is Bellweather, the villain from the first Zootopia, who can also be seen in the teaser. Will she be involved with the new antagonist somehow? Or, this time, will she end up helping Judy and Nick? It would be cool if they decided to interrogate her to get some idea of what the new enemy's plan is, since she's super smart and has a really devious mind. This production is promising to be full of adventure and mystery. We can't head to the theaters just yet to watch the movie, but there's nothing stopping us from talking about all 20 details and Easter eggs you missed in the Zootopia 2 teaser. So get comfy and get ready! This is another Cinewave episode kicking off. Someone who's definitely going to have a lot of screen time in this sequel is Gary, the snake. The interesting thing is that he's the first reptile to appear in the franchise, since all the animals in the first Zootopia were mammals only. From what little we know, he's pretty mysterious, and is involved with the case that Nick and Judy are going to investigate. Actually, throughout the entire trailer, the two main characters are on the run from the police alongside Gary, so they're probably going to become fugitives for helping the snake, who's likely accused of a crime he didn't commit. The movie will probably be about them trying to find the real villain, counting on what the reptile knows, although it's very likely he's going to keep some really important things from them. In one scene, there's a costume party going on, and obviously, there was bound to be a cool reference here. One of the coolest for sure is the zebra dressed as Darth Vader, the most famous villain from Star Wars and probably movies in general. Of course, they'd include this Easter egg since Star Wars is owned by Disney, just like Zootopia. At the start of the teaser, there are 3 super cute squirrels playing music on a keyboard, and if you were paying close attention, you probably noticed that the brand on the instrument says Casio. That name is a parody of a real-life keyboard brand called Casio. Since everything in the Zootopia universe involves animals, the brand name starts with cat. What a clever joke, right? Another one of the many new characters showing up here is a very charming horse who looks like some kind of celebrity. If we had to guess, we'd say he's an action movie heartthrob, kind of like a Brad Pitt or a Tom Cruise type. So, are you as hyped for Zootopia 2 as we are? If yes, drop a comment below with #Fox in honor of Nick. The appearance of an actor horse makes total sense when we remember that the first movie already featured some celebrities. For example, the singer Gazelle, who the teaser also clearly shows will be returning in the sequel. She's also a clear reference to Shakira, which becomes even more obvious given that Shakira herself is the one who voices the character. And yes, it's already been confirmed that just like in the original movie, another song performed by Gazelle/Shakira will be part of the Zootopia 2 soundtrack. In the first movie, the main characters all had their adventures within the city of Zootopia, but that's going to change in the new production. That's because the teaser shows scenes where they stop in different parts of the world. In one of them, Nick, Judy, and Gary find themselves in a snow-covered city, and our guess is that the characters are in Russia. The main reason we believe this is because in that same original draft of the first movie where the police boar was supposed to appear, there was also a part where Nick and Judy would travel to Russia. Since we're talking about a place that gets a lot of snow, it makes perfect sense for them to have decided to include this country in the sequel. Also, in this scene, something happens that pretty much everyone noticed, but probably didn't think could be important. The main characters come out of a manhole along with the snake, who even got frozen. At first glance, this might seem just like a funny little scene, but teasers only have a few scenes, and all of them are supposed to give us a bit more about the movie. In other words, this could be a hint that there's going to be a scene where the characters explore the sewers to escape from the police before they make it to the surface in Russia. The other countries they're going to visit also seem to exist in real life, or at the very least are inspired by real nations. In the same movie where they travel to a snowy place, we also see them going to another that's the complete opposite, a vast hot desert covered in sand. It's hard to say exactly where this place is, since lots of countries have deserts, but we can assume it's either Egypt or some nation in Arabia. And there's an amazing Easter egg in this scene that only longtime Disney fans might have noticed. When the police surround Nick and Judy, all the characters are positioned exactly like in a scene from the Disney movie Robin Hood, released back in 1973. The similarity becomes even more obvious considering that Nick is a fox, just like Robin Hood, and the police officers are rhinos, just like the guards. This wasn't just a coincidence, it was an intentional reference. The reason for paying tribute to such an old movie is that there's a theory saying that Zootopia takes place in the same universe as Robin Hood, since both movies are set in worlds run by civilized animals and share other similarities. The most obvious one, the main characters in both productions are foxes. Could it be that Nick is a descendant of none other than Robin Hood himself? Besides Bellweather, there's another incredible villain from the previous movie who's making a comeback. Mr. Big, a mob boss who is basically a living reference to Don Corleone from The Godfather. Seeing him return is going to be hilarious, that much we can be sure of. Another returning character is the right-hand man of The Godfather, of Mr. Big, Kozlov, the polar bear. The interesting thing is that he was supposed to play a much bigger role in the original version of the first movie, being the boss of a criminal organization instead of just a henchman. Plus, he was even supposed to have a son. Since it looks like the writers are bringing back some deleted scenes, there's a good chance that the polar bear has quit and started his own mafia between the first movie and the sequel, and we might even get to see his son. Remember that Kozlov is Russian, so it's easy to imagine him showing up right when Nick and Judy travel to Russia. Could it be? Discovering all of this is pretty amazing, right? And if you want to keep being surprised by our fun facts about your favorite animated movies, just subscribe to the channel. Do you remember Finnick, the sly fox who disguises himself as a baby? Luckily, he's another one who will be back, and he'll keep doing what he does best, pretending to be a baby, even though in reality he's a total hustler. After all, in the teaser, he shows up wearing a baby costume. But there's something interesting about this disguise. The outfit has a bunny theme, and his pacifier looks like a carrot. That probably means he's going to pretend to be a baby bunny. Could it be that all of this is so he can play the role of Judy's kid during some kind of spy mission? In one scene, the main characters are swinging on ropes through a forest with several snow-covered mountains on the horizon. All these features suggest that their international trip will take them to the Himalayas at some point, since that's also a place full of forests and landscapes like those. Actually, it's very possible that the huge mountain in the background is Mount Everest, the tallest mountain in the world, which is right there in the Himalayas. And you can even spot two goats standing way in the background of this scene. They show up again later on when the teaser starts introducing several, or maybe all, of the characters in the cast. They're among the brand new characters in the sequel. Could it be that we're going to get that classic joke, one that's already been done in several movies, of the goats letting out those unbearable screams non-stop? If that happens, it'll either be hilarious or totally unbearable, because we'll all probably end up deaf by the end of the movie. Greg is the first reptile in the franchise, but we already know he won't be the only one showing up in Zootopia 2. In the teaser, we can already see that the movie will feature another animal of this kind, but unlike Greg, this one will be an iguana, and for some reason, he'll be wearing cowboy clothes. The weirdest part of the teaser is definitely when a party suddenly starts out of nowhere. But besides the zebra dressed as Darth Vader, there's another interesting costume here. A wolf is wearing an astronaut outfit. Doesn't really seem like a reference to anything specific, right? But actually, it's an Easter egg related to the first movie rather than another Disney franchise. The wolf's astronaut helmet is identical to the one worn by Sharla, a little sheep who dreams of becoming an astronaut. Even though a gigantic number of animals appeared in the first movie, they were pretty limited species-wise. All of them were mammals, and none were domestic animals. The rule of only mammals will be broken with the sequel, since the movie will feature at least 2 reptiles. The rule about not having domestic animals might also be broken, since the teaser shows that a cat will appear. But we can't be totally sure they're actually going to break that rule. After all, it could very well be a wild cat. So what do you think? We've left 2 more videos on your screen. Click on one of them to keep having fun with us. Cool? Thanks, and see you next time!